All right, let's dive into what I like to call a secret weapon for the digital SAT math section. And no, this isn't about memorizing a bunch of obscure formulas. It's about a strategy that top scorers use to get a really serious edge. Have you ever wondered about that? You know how some people seem to finish the math section with 5, even 10 minutes left on the clock, just looking totally relaxed? I mean, if you're someone who's always racing against time, that can be a super frustrating thing to see. Well, the answer isn't that they're all math geniuses. It's that they have a very specific strategy. And that strategy? Well, it all starts with understanding a huge pitfall, what I call the calculator trap. Yeah, you're allowed to use it on every single question, but believe it or not, that can be a massive disadvantage if you're not careful. Just look at this direct comparison. Reaching for that calculator is often the slower, kind of chaotic path. It just opens you up to silly input errors, like typing 47 instead of 74, and it completely hides the elegant shortcuts that are actually built right into the questions. But the mental method, that's like a direct flight. It's faster, it's way more accurate, and it lets you see the hidden structure of the problem. So here's the crucial point. Getting those top-tier, elite-level scores really boils down to a simple formula. Speed plus accuracy. And mastering mental math, it directly fuels both sides of this equation. It is the most direct path to making more points way more efficiently. So let's talk about how to build that strategic advantage. How do we turn this idea into a real, tangible skill you can actually use on test day? Okay, first, let's redefine what we're even talking about here. This is not about being a human calculator. Not at all. It's a strategy, and it's something anyone can learn. It's all about recognizing patterns, seeing the quickest way to get from point A to point B, and deliberately avoiding all those wasted steps that the calculator so often creates.
Okay, enough theory. Let's get practical. We're going to dive into some core mental math hacks that you can literally start using today.
Take a look at this problem, 98 times 47. Now, your first instinct might be to reach for the calculator, right? It looks kind of annoying to do on paper, but just watch this. So instead of tackling it head-on, we're just going to reframe it. 98 is just 100 minus 2, right? So now we can use the distributive property. 100 times 47 is easy. That's 4,700. And 2 times 47 is also pretty simple. That's 94. All of a sudden, the problem just becomes a simple subtraction. And boom, 4606. No calculator, zero chance of a typo, and honestly, it was probably faster than you could have even typed it in. That is the power of this approach. And this works for everything. It's not just for multiplication. What about a kind of awkward-looking addition problem like 298 plus 467? Again, the instinct might be to stack them up or type them in, but we can be a lot smarter about it. Let's just make this easy on ourselves. We can borrow 2 from the 467 and give it to the 298. See what that does? It turns 298 into a nice, round 300. The 467 becomes 465. Now, just look at that problem. 300 plus 465. You can do that in your head in an instant. The answer is 765. Simple, elegant, and just lightning fast. We don't really calculate. We just sort of rearrange the numbers to make our lives easier. All right, so you've seen the basics. And honestly, those two techniques alone will save you a ton of time. But this goes so much deeper. So let's get into some of the next level shortcut secrets that really separate the good scores from the truly great ones. I want you to think of these strategies as a mental toolkit. You'll learn to find percentages by just breaking them into 10% chunks.
You'll master tricks for squaring numbers, and you'll use powerful algebra concepts like the difference of squares. The whole key is just having the right tool for every single job.
So let's look at one of these advanced tricks in action. 102 times 98. Now this one looks like a real headache. It's basically designed to make you reach for that calculator. But this is a perfect illustration of a hidden pattern. This is a classic difference of squares setup. It fits that formula, a plus b times a minus b, which always equals a squared minus b squared. So our problem just becomes 100 squared minus 2 squared. Well, that's just 10,000 minus 4.
And there you have it, 9996. A problem that looked like it would take 30 seconds of careful button pushing is solved in about 3 seconds, with basically zero chance of an error. This is exactly what scoring smarter looks like.
So let's bring all this together. What's the ultimate payoff for developing this skill? Well, it's about fundamentally changing your whole approach to the test. It's about scoring smarter, not just working harder. Here's what you get. Every second you save on an easy or medium question is a second you can now invest in those really tough, high-value problems at the end. You'll eliminate those silly input mistakes that cost you points. And your confidence, it's going to soar because you're in control of the tests, not the other way around. And finally, the calculator goes back to where it belongs. It's a useful backup tool, not a crutch you have to lean on for every single step. Ultimately, it really all comes down to this one powerful idea. This isn't just some gimmick to solve problems a little bit quicker. It's a strategic shift. You're learning to see the test the way the test makers see it. You don't just solve problems faster, you score smarter. So I'm going to leave you with this question. Just imagine it's test day. You've just finished the last question, and you look up at the clock, and you have 5 full minutes to spare. What will you do with that time? Will you double-check your flagged questions? Will you just take a second to breathe and relax? That time is the ultimate advantage, and believe me, it is completely within your reach.